100 Facts About the Islands to Fall Asleep To. Segment 1. The Orbital Rhythm. Let us begin at a window. Not just any window, but the largest window in space. The cupola. 7 panes of fused silica and borosilicate glass, each shield against the extremes, forming a perfect eye upon the universe. An astronaut floats here, weightless, not standing but hovering, a silent observer in a theater of perpetual motion. Outside, the show never ends. We are moving at 17,500 miles per hour. That is 10 times the speed of a rifle bullet. But here, inside, there is only a profound, velvety silence. No roar of engines, no rush of wind. The only proof of this incredible speed is the view below. Every 90 minutes, we complete a single graceful lap around our world. A sunrise, a day, a sunset, and a night, all compressed into a mere hour and a half. In a single Earth day, the astronaut at the window will witness this cycle 16 times. 16 dawns, where the sun erupts over the curve of the Earth not with a gentle light, but as a searing, brilliant line of fire that splits the darkness. 16 dusks, where it vanishes just as abruptly, leaving a thin, glowing band of atmosphere, a turquoise and amber necklace clasped around the planet's neck. This relentless, predictable rhythm is the heartbeat of the station. It is an orbital dance, a carefully balanced fall. We are forever falling towards Earth but moving forward so quickly that we perpetually miss it. This state is microgravity, a continuous freefall that gives the sensation of weightlessness. It's why a pen, released from the astronaut's hand, doesn't drop but simply hangs in the air, a companion in the fall. Below, the dancer we orbit is a swirling marble of cloud and continent. From here, you see no borders. You see the Amazon basin, a vast lung of deep green, the Sahara, a palette of burnt orange and tan, and the deep blue scars of the Pacific Ocean. You see thunderstorms flicker like silent fireworks, and the ghostly green veil of the auroras swaying over the poles. This entire complex, this metropolis in the sky, is the size of a football field. If you could walk its modules from end to end, you would pass through laboratories and living quarters, through the harmony of an international partnership that has lasted over 2 continuous decades with a human presence. Every second of every day, since the first crew arrived, someone has been home here, looking back at the pale blue day. And as the astronaut at the cupola watches another sunset bleed into night, the Earth cities begin to appear. Not as sprawling metropolises, but as delicate constellations of golden light pinned to the velvet black. A reminder of the world sleeping below, unaware that 250 miles above, a silent outpost is passing by, keeping its watchful rhythmic pace. Segment 2. The Hum of Home. From the cosmic spectacle, we turn inward. The astronaut pushes off gently from the window, floating backwards into the warm light of the station's interior. This is home. And like any home, it has its own sounds, its own smells, its own rhythm of life. The constant, reassuring hum of the environmental control systems is the white noise of this house in the sky. It's a symphony of fans, over 50 of them, working tirelessly. They don't just cool the avionics, they perform a vital, invisible task. Without gravity, warm air doesn't rise. It would pool around an astronaut, creating a bubble of their own exhaled carbon dioxide. These fans stir the atmosphere, creating a gentle artificial breeze that keeps the air mixed and safe to breathe. What we breathe is a careful recipe. The air here is not so different from Earth's, but it is made, not taken. Electrolysis of water, splitting H2O into hydrogen and oxygen, provides much of the breathable air. The hydrogen is vented into space, while the oxygen fills the modules. Every exhale is then scrubbed clean, its CO2 captured by special materials called zeolites and later released overboard. It is a silent, perpetual cycle of renewal. This recycling extends to the most precious resource of all, water. Here, water is obsession. Every drop is tracked, reclaimed, and cherished. The humidity in the air, drawn from breath and sweat, is condensed on cooling coils. It is purified. Even the water recovered from urine is processed through a meticulous filtration and distillation system until it emerges cleaner than most tap water on Earth. In this closed loop, yesterday's coffee can become part of tomorrow's. This system reclaims about 93% of all water brought aboard, a necessity for a home so far from any spring. And in this carefully managed environment, the crew moves with a practiced, fluid grace. They do not walk, but swim through the air. Handholds, like the rungs of a ladder placed everywhere, are their sidewalks. A gentle pull, a soft push, and they glide from module to module. They must foot restrain themselves to work, anchoring their feet under loops or on platforms to stay in one place. To sleep, they retreat to personal quarters no larger than a phone booth, slipping into a sleeping bag tethered to the wall. There is no lying down, only attaching oneself to a vertical surface and closing 1 foot eyes, free to drift within the cocoon. Their day is governed not by the rising sun, but by Coordinated Universal Time, UTC, a compromise for the international crew. They work, exercise for 2 hours a day to fight the relentless leaching of calcium from bones and the weakening of muscles in weightlessness, and share meals. And what meals they are! From thermostabilized shrimp cocktail, a surprising favorite, its horseradish sauce clinging nicely in micro-G, to rehydratable soups and tortillas instead of crumbly bread. Every bite is planned, every container carefully sealed, for a stray crumb or floating droplet becomes a potential nuisance, a tiny satellite to be chased down. As the astronaut drifts toward the laboratory module, the nature of the hum changes slightly. Here, amid the whir of centrifuges and the glow of monitors, the true purpose of this home reveals itself. It is not just a shelter, but a unique laboratory for over 3,000 experiments conducted to date. Here, in this perpetual freefall, flames burn as perfect spheres, metals mix in impossible ways, and protein crystals grow larger and more pure than anywhere on Earth, clues to new medicines, new materials, a new understanding of the universe itself. The astronaut stops at a small, glowing experiment. It's not flashy. It might be studying the growth of protein crystals or the behavior of capillary flow. The profound truth of the ISS is here. It is a testament to quiet, cumulative science, to the steady collection of knowledge in the serene silence above the world. Segment 3. The Silent Skin. From the inside out, we now step into the vacuum. Let us float outside the skin of this home. The International Space Station is not a single craft, but a mosaic of modules and components, assembled over more than a decade and 40 separate assembly flights. It is an architectural marvel built in mid-air, 250 miles high. Each new piece, launched from Earth, was grappled by a robotic arm and meticulously connected by spacewalking astronauts. The skin they built is a fortress against nothingness. It must withstand 2 brutal extremes: the scorching heat of plus 250 degrees Fahrenheit 121 degrees Celsius in direct sunlight, and the deep freeze of minus 250 degrees Fahrenheit minus 157 degrees Celsius in Earth's shadow. This happens not once a day, but 16 times. The metal and composites of its hull expand and contract with this thermal waltz, a constant, silent flexing. The greatest threat to this skin is not temperature, but speed. At 17,500 miles per hour, even a paint fleck or a grain of sand becomes a dangerous projectile. To protect against these micrometeoroids and orbital debris, the station wears a kind of high-tech armor. Critical modules are shielded by Whipple Shields, layers of metal and Kevlar-like material spaced apart. A tiny particle hits the outer bumper, vaporizes, and its energy spreads harmlessly before reaching the inner hull. It is a silent, constant defense against invisible strikes. Yet, the station is not a sealed vault. It must breathe with the sun. Extending from its sides like great blue wings are the solar arrays. There are 8 of them, and if laid end to end, they would span over an acre. These are not simple panels. They rotate on a beta gimbal to constantly track the sun, maximizing the capture of its energy. They power everything, from the life support hum to the laboratory lights, converting sunlight into about 84-120 kilowatts of electricity, enough for about 40 average homes. But what of the things the station must let go? The heat generated by all that machinery and human activity is pumped through liquid ammonia loops, a radiator system more complex than any car's, and finally released into space as infrared radiation from those great white radiator fins. And the waste, the packaging, the spent equipment, they are loaded into a disposable spacecraft, the Cygnus or the HTV. Once filled, these craft are released to burn up, intentionally, as a controlled re-entry over the remote South Pacific Ocean, in a place known as the Spacecraft Cemetery. This silent skin is also a perch for observation. Mounted on its trusses are instruments that stare not down at Earth, but out into the cosmos, away from the distortion and glare of our atmosphere. And it looks back at itself, too. The station is equipped with external HD cameras that offer us, the sleepers below, live views of Earth, or watchful eyes during robotic arm operations. As we complete our external drift, we come to the very end of the station's backbone, the truss. Here, floating in the eternal night, one is struck by the silence. It is absolute. You would hear nothing, not even your own breath, in a spacesuit. You would only see the slow, stately pirouette of this incredible outpost against the infinite starfield, a testament to delicate engineering orbiting in the most unforgiving of environments, a sanctuary of warmth and light, holding fast against the sublime, silent cold. Segment 4. The Human Tapestry. Inside this technological shell, a softer reality breathes. This is a village. A village of usually 7 full-time residents, though it can host as many as 13 during a crew handover, a bustling but carefully choreographed event. They are not just astronauts or cosmonauts, they are a microcosm of our world. They are engineers, biologists, physicians, and physicists. They come from the agencies of the United States, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada. Their daily work is conducted in a symphony of languages, but the tongue of procedure and technical collaboration is English. Yet, on the Russian segment, you'll hear the fluid sounds of Russian, and a crew member will often become fluent in the other's language, a small bridge built in orbit. Their bond is forged in shared routine and shared risk. They begin their day with a conference with Mission Control, not just one, but several, in Houston, Moscow, Munich, Tsukuba, and Montreal, a daily check-in that ties them to the planet. They work in shifts that last up to 10 hours, a schedule punctuated by the 2 sacred hours of exercise. The machines they use are marvels of countermeasure, the Sevis bicycle and the Colbert treadmill, both specially designed to use loads and harnesses to simulate weight, and the ARD, the Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, which uses vacuum cylinders to simulate free weights, allowing them to squat, deadlift, and bench press in microgravity. Without this ritual, a crew member could lose up to 1% of their bone density per month. But life is not all work. They gather for meals, clipping their trays to a common table, sharing stories and food from around the world, perhaps some Russian kotlety, Japanese ramen, or American macaroni and cheese. They celebrate holidays, Christmas, New Year, Cosmonautics Day. They have weekly video conferences with their families, a precious tether to Earth that is both a joy and a poignant reminder of distance. They also care for their home. Saturday is cleaning day. They wipe down surfaces, clean filters, and vacuum to control the ever-present dust, flakes of skin, lint from clothing, that floats endlessly in the air currents. Even their clothes are part of the system. There is no laundry. Clothes are worn for much longer than on Earth, then eventually packed into a departing cargo ship to be incinerated in the atmosphere. Cotton is rare. Most garments are made of antimicrobial, quick-drying materials. And in this closed community, moments of simple humanity shine. A crew member might float to the cupola just to watch the Ganges River Delta at dawn. Another might tend to the veggie experiment, a small hydroponic garden growing leafy greens, not just for nutrition but for the profound psychological comfort of tending living, growing things. They might film a simple physics demonstration for schoolchildren or just share a packet of M&Ms, watching the colored candies float in a slow-motion cascade. This is the human tapestry of the ISS. It is a story of adaptation, of cooperation etched not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, daily acts of living and working together, suspended in the gentle light of their fragile, shared home. Segment 5. The Helping Hands. No inhabitant of this orbital village works alone. They have steadfast partners, made not of flesh and blood, but of metal and code. The most prominent of these is Canadarm2. This 57-foot-long robotic arm is a mechanical marvel, capable of moving end over end like an inchworm by walking its 2 ends along power data grapple fixtures stationed across the station's hull. It has built the ISS, moving modules and trusses weighing hundreds of thousands of pounds with the delicacy of a crane operator threading a needle. But even this giant has a helper. At the end of Canadarm2 sits Dexter, the special-purpose dexterous manipulator. If the arm is a shoulder and elbow, Dexter is the wrist and fingers. It is a 2-armed robot with incredible dexterity, equipped with lights, cameras, and a full toolbox. It can perform delicate external maintenance tasks, changing batteries, swapping out experiments that would otherwise require a risky, time-consuming spacewalk. It works under the silent command of operators on the ground or crew inside, who control it using sophisticated joysticks and visual systems. These robotic systems are the station's exterior custodians. They are equipped with eyes, not just standard cameras, but laser imaging systems that create detailed 3D maps of the station's exterior to inspect for damage. They have handled the berthing of countless cargo spacecraft, from the cylindrical Cygnus to the bell-shaped Dragon, guiding them softly to their docking ports. Inside, the helpers are smaller, but just as fascinating. There is Simon, a floating, spherical AI assistant with a simple, friendly face on its screen, designed to help with procedures and experiments. And from Japan, there is the Intball, a small, free-flying camera drone that can record experiments autonomously, freeing up crew time. The most profound of these robotic partnerships, however, is with the Earth itself. The station is in constant communication. Through a network of tracking and data relay satellites in high orbit, it maintains a near-continuous link with the ground, sending down over 250 gigabits of data every day, the results of experiments, system telemetry, and those breathtaking views. This data stream allows teams in Mission Control Center Houston to monitor the station's health 24/7, in shifts that have never stopped, not for a single day, in over 20 years. They watch the pressure in the modules, the charge in the batteries, the performance of the solar arrays. They are the silent, watchful guardians on the ground, the village elders who know every sigh and murmur of the machine their friends call home. The astronauts, in turn, become adept at working with and repairing these robotic systems. They train for years on high-fidelity mock-ups on Earth, learning every bolt and wire. A scheduled task, like replacing a failed pump module or upgrading an external camera, becomes a ballet of human and machine, inside and out, all conducted with the serene patience that microgravity demands. In this segment, we see the ISS not just as a home or a lab, but as an organism. The crew are its mindful heart. The robots are its versatile limbs and watchful eyes. And the invisible thread of data is its nervous system, connecting it to the collective mind of humanity on the blue planet below. Segment 6: Visitors and Legacy. The International Space Station is not an island. It is a destination. Periodically, a new star appears in the night sky below, rising not from the horizon, but climbing steadily upward from the atmosphere. The crew watches from their cupola as this star grows brighter, becoming a spacecraft. It could be a Soyuz, the venerable, reliable workhorse that has been ferrying crews since the very beginning, its design heritage stretching back to the 1960s. Or it could be a sleek, new Crew Dragon or Starliner, the shape of a new commercial era. The approach and docking is a masterpiece of precision. The chasing spacecraft uses a combination of star trackers, laser ranging, and complex software to align itself perfectly with its assigned port. The final closure is a slow, gentle push, a soft metallic clunk and shudder that resonates through the station's frame, felt by all inside. A new arrival. The hatch opens, and there is the familiar joyful ritual. The smell of the new vehicle, often described as a mix of seared metal, ozone, and new car, the floating embraces of friends and colleagues, the first moments of disorientation for the newcomers as their brains adapt to the reality of weightlessness. These visitors bring more than people. They bring fresh food, apples, oranges, sometimes even special treats from home, a sensory delight after months of packaged meals. They bring new experiments, new supplies, and news from the world below. And when their time is done, they depart, their spacecraft filled with the results of science, discarded equipment, and the personal effects of the crew returning home. The departure is another carefully orchestrated event. The spacecraft undocks, and for a time, it flies in formation, a silent dance partner a few hundred meters away. Then, with a brief firing of its engines, it begins its fall. The crew inside experience the return of weight, building rapidly. They see the glow of plasma outside their window as they punch through the atmosphere at 25 times the speed of sound, protected by an ablative heat shield that chars away to carry the heat with it. Finally, parachutes bloom, the bright orange and white canopies of Soyuz on the Kazakh steppe, or the graceful splashdown of a capsule in the Gulf of Mexico. Back on the station, life returns to its steady rhythm. But the station itself is changing. It is a living structure, constantly being upgraded. New lithium-ion batteries have replaced the old nickel-hydrogen ones, with spacewalks spanning years to complete the swap. New docking adapters have been installed to welcome the new generation of crew vehicles. It is a testament to in-orbit maintenance and upgradability, designed from the start to evolve. This leads to the quiet, unspoken question that floats in the mind of every observer. How long can this last? The station has a design life that has been extended through meticulous care, but its components fatigue. Its future is charted until at least 2030, with plans for a gentle, guided deorbit into the South Pacific when its time is finally done. It will leave behind not just a legacy of science, but a template, a proof that we can live and work together, permanently, in space. It is the foundational chapter for what comes next: commercial stations, lunar gateways, and perhaps, one day, the journey to Mars. For now, it remains a beacon, a outpost, a village of light, tracing its silent, predictable path across the star-strewn sky, a testament to what we can build when we look up, together.
Segment 7. The Unseen Symphony. Within the station's walls, beneath the hum of fans, exists a more subtle layer of reality. Here, the ordinary rules of Earth are quietly suspended, creating phenomena that are both beautiful and strange. Take, for instance, a simple candle. If lit here, within a special, safe enclosure for experiment, its flame is not the teardrop shape we know. It becomes a gentle, blue sphere, a perfect orb of combustion. Without gravity to pull hot air upward and draw fresh oxygen into the base, the flame feeds on diffusion alone, creating a lazy, ethereal halo of light. It is a piece of magic born of physics. Water, too, behaves like a living thing. A floating blob of it, released from a drink bag, will quiver like a translucent jellyfish. Its surface tension, the force that gives a droplet its shape, is now the dominant force. You can merge droplets to form floating orbs, or use a simple loop of wire to create a free-floating film of water, a shimmering, lens-like bubble that refracts the module's lights. This property, capillary flow, is critical for designing fuel tanks for future spacecraft, where there is no up for the fuel to settle. Even the most mundane tasks are reinvented. There is no pouring. To rehydrate a meal, you inject a precise amount of water through a valve into the package, then knead it gently. A spilled drink doesn't puddle. It forms a quivering mass that will cling to surfaces, threatening to sneak into electronics until captured by absorbent towels. The crew's hair, if left unbound, will float around their heads in a slow-motion halo. To wash, they use rinseless shampoos and soaps, applying them carefully and wiping clean with damp towels to avoid a cloud of suds. Sound travels differently here. There is no convection, so your voice doesn't carry upward or downward. It simply diffuses. In the node, you might hear a faint conversation from the laboratory, carried not by air currents, but by the vibration through the metal hull itself. The station is always settling, its metals expanding and contracting with the 90-minute temperature cycle, creating faint ticks and groans, a lullaby of thermal flexing. And in this environment, the human body is on its own strange journey. Fluids, no longer pulled downward, redistribute. Faces become slightly puffy, legs slightly thinner. The *** bird leg phenomenon ***. The inner ear our gyroscope is confused at first. Many experience space adaptation syndrome, a form of nausea as the brain struggles to reconcile the signals from the eyes, which say you're floating, with the inner ear, which says you're falling. The cure is often simply to look at a stable reference, like Earth through the window, and let the serene view calm the storm within.
But the body adapts.
After a few days, the brain learns a new up. The crew member floating in the center of the module no longer feels disoriented. The wall with their personal photos becomes their wall, their own piece of spatial orientation in a world of many floors and ceilings. It is in this adapted state that they perform their most delicate work, from repairing a DNA sequencer to cultivating stem cells that grow in three-dimensional structures impossible on Earth, offering new clues to human development and disease. They live inside a continuous, unseen symphony of altered physics, a daily dance with a new set of rules. Segment 8. A window on the world. For all its focus on the cosmos, the station's most profound view is the one in the rear-view mirror, Earth. It is the ultimate Earth observation platform, a geostationary traveler that passes over 90% of the populated world, its path tracing a spiral as the planet rotates beneath it. The science of looking down is called Earth observation, and it is a constant. The crew are trained as scientific observers, their eyes valuable sensors. They photograph phenomena as they unfold: the rapid growth of a phytoplankton bloom in the South Atlantic, the sinuous smoke from a massive wildfire, the silent creep of a glacier's retreat over years. Their images are tagged with time and coordinates and sent to researchers, providing ground truth for satellite data. Mounted on the Japanese Kibo module is an external platform nicknamed the front porch, where experiments are exposed to the vacuum and radiation of space. Here, instruments monitor the health of our atmosphere, measuring aerosols, ozone, and greenhouse gases with a precision difficult to achieve from the ground. They watch as noctilucent clouds, the highest and most mysterious clouds on Earth, shimmer at the edge of space. They witness the planet's raw power. From above, a tropical cyclone is a breathtakingly beautiful and terrifying cosmic swirl, a perfect white spiral with a deceptively calm eye. They see the aurora borealis and Australia's not as a curtain from below, but as a rippling, green sea scene from above, dancing at the magnetic poles. They can trace the Great Wall of China under perfect conditions, but more often, they see the unintended markers of humanity, the geometric patterns of enormous greenhouses in Almeria, Spain, or the sprawling, nighttime glow of megacities. This perspective has a profound psychological effect, known as the overview effect. It is the visceral, cognitive shift in awareness reported by many astronauts upon seeing the Earth as a fragile, borderless, living system against the stark black void. It fosters a sense of global identity and a deep urgency to protect our shared home. The data streaming down is relentless. It helps track deforestation in the Amazon, the melting of polar ice, and the health of coral reefs. It aids disaster response, providing rapid images of flood zones or volcanic eruptions to coordinating agencies on the ground. The station is not just looking out, it is looking back, holding up a mirror to our world, showing us its beauty, its fragility, and the unmistakable marks of our presence upon it. Segment 9. The Constant Gardener. Life on the ISS is a constant negotiation with the non-living environment. To sustain the bubble of biology, the station must be an expert gardener of air, water, and even the microbes that share the space. The temperature and humidity control, THC, system is the lungs of the station. It not only cools, but it also condenses moisture from the air, about 13 pounds of water per day from crew breath and sweat alone, sending it to the water recovery system. The carbon dioxide removal assembly, CDRA, uses those zeolite beds to scrub the air, while a backup system, Vozduk, performs the same function on the Russian segment. But the air must also be guarded against unseen intruders. Microbes thrive in the warm, humid environment. Molds and bacteria can grow on walls, behind panels, even on spacesuit components. The crew regularly takes air and surface samples, culturing them on petri dishes to monitor the microbiome of their home. While most microbes are harmless, their growth can clog filters and degrade materials, so constant vigilance is required. UV lights and hydrogen peroxide-based cleaners are used to keep them in check. This careful cultivation extends to the only intentional residents besides the crew, the experiments. For years, the station has been a home for mice, fruit flies, worms, and even baby squid, studying the effects of microgravity on anatomy, genetics, and even the symbiotic relationship between animals and their beneficial bacteria. The plant habitat is a more advanced garden than veggie, a fully automated, controlled environment chamber where scientists study plant growth from seed to seed, learning how to grow food for missions to Mars. The ultimate test of this closed-loop gardening is happening now. Newer systems are being tested that aim for even higher recycling rates, pushing towards what is needed for a spacecraft to be truly Earth-independent. They are experimenting with photobioreactors that use algae to consume carbon dioxide and produce oxygen, and even edible biomass, a tiny, green, closed ecosystem within the larger mechanical one. In this way, the ISS is a prototype for a future where we take our garden with us. It is a lesson in tending our miniature world, learning the delicate balance required to keep the bubble of life intact, whether orbiting Earth or on a long, dark voyage between planets. Segment 10. The Fading Pulse and the Future's Glimmer. As our journey nears its end, We acknowledge the rhythm we began with, the silent, 90-minute pulse of orbit. But even this pulse has a lifetime. The station does not orbit in a perfect vacuum. It schemes the tenuous uppermost layer of the atmosphere, the thermosphere. This exospheric drag, though minimal, is constant. Without periodic boosts, the station would slowly lose altitude and eventually spiral down. These reboost maneuvers are performed by the engines of a docked Progress cargo spacecraft or the Cygnus, firing gently to push the complex a few miles higher, a subtle correction to its eternal fall. Every system here has a story of endurance. The solar arrays, designed for a 15-year life, have far exceeded their warranty, their cells slowly degrading under the relentless bombardment of solar radiation and micrometeoroid pitting. The modules themselves are aging, their metallurgy tested by decades of thermal cycling. The story of the ISS is one of continuous maintenance and replacement, a testament to the ingenuity of the teams on the ground who devise fixes for problems never imagined. And as it ages, a new chapter is being written beside it. The era of the commercial cargo and crew program has transformed the station from a solely government-owned outpost into a marketplace in low Earth orbit. Private companies now operate their own modules attached to the station, like the Beam Expandable Habitat, testing inflatable technology for future habitats. Companies are using the ISS as a platform for manufacturing novel materials, like perfect optical fiber or novel pharmaceuticals, in space. The station is becoming a business incubator in microgravity. It is the proving ground, the foundational customer for the new space economy. When its service finally ends, its legacy will not be one object, but an entire ecosystem of companies, technologies, and international protocols for working together in space. Its final act will be as carefully planned as its construction. When the time comes, the last crew will depart. Then, from the ground, controllers will command a series of burns by a final, powerful spacecraft. It will guide the massive structure on its final descent, aiming for that remote point in the South Pacific. As it enters the atmosphere, it will not burn up quietly. It will be a brilliant, man-made meteor shower, a final fiery salute visible to no one but the fishes and the waves. And then, the orbit will be clear. But the rhythm it established, the rhythm of permanent human presence, of international partnership in space, of looking back at our world with wonder and concern, that pulse will not fade. It will beat on in the lunar gateway, in commercial stations, and in the hearts of the next generation who looked up as children and saw a steady, moving star, and knew that in the heavens there was a home.
Good night from the cupola. Good night from the village in the sky. May your dreams be as peaceful as the orbital dance, and as full of wonder as the view.